I feel like this lighting is probably ridiculous, and I hope it doesn't mess up the video. Hi friends! So today, this video is about you. I'm making a video about friends today, because why not? Everybody has friends, I hope. If you don't have friends, talk to me, because I might get along with you. I might not. I don't know, it's like a 50-50 chance. I'm not always very agreeable, but we can try. I'm sure we could work something out. I'm making this video because everybody has friends, generally, and they're awesome, and they play a huge part in our lives, and why wouldn't I make a video about friends? Because it's sunny and lovely outside, so what better a topic? So first I kind of wanted to say something about my best friends. There are 3 people that I consider my very, very best friends. I have a lot of friends that mean a lot to me. I just ate Nutter Butters, and I feel like you can like hear it in my mouth. Like my mouth feels real sticky. I don't have any more water in my water bottle, so I hope it doesn't sound as weird to the camera as it does in my head. Like a little peanut butter before you go to film a video. Yeah. Anyway, so I have 3 best friends, and I have a lot of friends that are really important to me, and some of them I don't talk to as regularly as I might like to, but they all have played a really big part in my life. My 3 best friends. I'll start at the beginning and work towards now. My parents got divorced when I was pretty young. I'll make a video about that someday. And when they were getting divorced, I moved. The sun is so bright. I moved all over the place, and we went to a whole bunch of different schools. We, as in my brother and sister and I. And finally, when I was in 4th grade, we moved to the town that I lived in until I graduated high school. So I was in that school system for the whole time from 4th grade till high school, which was nice, because I went to, I think, 5 or 6 different elementary schools. And there I met, I think she was in my class in 4th grade. She must have been. The girl who is to this day probably my closest friend. We had mutual friends, I guess. I mean, we were in 4th grade, so everybody kind of knew everybody. I mean, it's not like, oh, a friend of a friend of a friend introduced me at a bar one night. Like, we were in 4th grade. And I remember we used to do this weird thing. It was me, her, and a handful of other girls, where instead of going outside at recess, we would go to the music teacher's classroom, because during the 4th graders' recess time, she had kindergartners, and we'd help with the kindergartners, but really there was like this weird storage room closet thing that we just like hung out and talked in, and I don't know whose idea it was. Eventually we started playing a game where we'd all go in, shut the lights off, hide, and then somebody would be standing outside the storage room, because there was a little hallway, kind of, and they would close their eyes and come into the dark room, and they would have to find us all. I mean, it was like probably smaller than 5 feet by 5 feet, so it wasn't all that hard. Like, we would like climb up on the shelves and hide and do all sorts of weird stuff. And this girl that I'm still friends with, I don't remember any specific instances of, but she's a very sensible, reasonable person, and I feel like even back then, she probably discouraged the nonsense. I was a mess through middle school, so I'm not friends with a lot of people that I grew up with. But I'm cordial with most of them now, at least. But anyway, so we were friends through middle school, and in high school we were still friends. We got really close again, kind of my senior year, because we were both class officers. Anybody I went to high school with will know pretty much immediately who this person is. She's just awesome and nice and smart, and she's in college now, and sort of nearby. It's not very far. And when she's home, we still hang out, and I'm going to do stuff with her this weekend. And she's just really, really awesome, and has been a super positive force in my life. And she's a good influence. And I've had a lot of friends who are just bad influences in my life. And she's just a really good influence and a nice person. And she rocks. So I appreciate that a lot. Another one of my best friends I met my freshman year of high school. Like I said, I was kind of a mess in middle school, and I didn't really have a lot of friends. So when I got to high school, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna make friends, and I'm not gonna be such a creep anymore. And I went to every extracurricular that like might even vaguely interest me that you can imagine, including anime club. And on the first meeting of the anime club, this girl came up to me and she was like, you remind me of me as a freshman. And I was like, okay. Thinking inside, I have not said any words to you. That seems like a vast assumption to make. We talked and she was cool, and I added her on Facebook. And I think a day or two later, we had fire drill. Well, somebody pulled the fire alarm. So we were outside. It was during lunch. And she comes up to me, and I had a big long sweater on, and she grabbed it and kind of like ducked underneath it. And she was like, it's raining. And I was like, yeah, it is. And internally, again, I'm like, I don't know this girl. She invited me over that weekend, and I went and hung out, and then I think I stayed over the next weekend. We pretty much were inseparable all through high school. She was 2 years ahead of me, so when I met her, she was a junior and I was a freshman. And we were super close. We're still super close. I think we've only had like 2 fights ever, if that. And she's cool because I was super weird and not very confident and just generally a wreck after middle school. And she totally turned me around, and I think that a lot of my opinions and characteristics I really attribute to her. And we always joke about how weird I probably would be if she didn't kind of step in and straighten me out. And we also always joke about how we're really different, and if we combined our 2 characteristics, we would have one person who was just like angelic and perfect, and then an anti-human who would just be the most brutal creature that has ever lived. She's just fun, and the nice thing about her is it's not always a very deep friendship, like we talk about deep stuff when we talk about important stuff, but it's also easy and fun. And I can go and hang out with her and talk about nothing and play video games and make stupid jokes, and there's not expectations really. Like the only expectation is that we're nice to each other, and it's awesome because it's so easy. Then my third best friend, I haven't actually been best friends with for all that long. When I was in Germany, I posted, after I switched families, I posted on the Au Pairs Munich Facebook group that I had just switched families and had kind of a weird experience, and she commented and said, hey, I switched families and had a weird experience, let's meet up for coffee. And me, with my complete and utter lack of any sense of direction whatsoever, got completely horribly lost on public transportation going to meet her. So by the time I did, she was like, so I have to leave in 20 minutes, but let's talk. So I talked to her, and she was really cool, and then she was like, I have another friend that is out at a brewery right now. Why don't you go meet her? Here's where she is. I'll bring you to the subway, which is the U-Bahn. I think I just called it the U-Bahn. Sorry about that. It's the subway. And I'll point you in the right direction, and I'll go do what I have to do, and you go hang out with her. So I went and I met up with her other friend, and I liked her, and we hung out, and it was awesome too. And I think that weekend, I met her at her au pair family's apartment, because they were gone, so she had the apartment to herself for that weekend. And it was awesome. We ate, and we drank, and we went out, and we partied, and we all got totally smashed, but that's beside the point. I still have to make a video about all of my Germany shenanigans. We both kind of bonded over the fact that we had really had some rough au pair situations as far as things go, and it didn't go as well as maybe we would have liked it to, but we also have a ton in common, and I am very crafty. I love to knit and crochet and do all sorts of arts and crafts, and she does too. And I was always trying to teach people to knit and crochet and stuff so they do it with me. And she already knew, and we'd just sit around and knit and crochet with each other. And it's really cool. In a lot of ways, I feel like we're just kind of kindred spirits. We're a lot alike in a lot of ways, and it's really cool to have that with somebody. She's a lot older than I am. But I've always kind of gotten along with people that are older than me. She left a week after I did from au pairing, and she lives in the south now, kind of far away. But we talk almost every day, and I'm gonna try to visit her soon, and she's just really amazing. So that's my third best friend. With friends, there's just kind of one more thing I wanted to touch upon. You gotta, and I am very guilty of stuff like this in the past. You have to be aware of your friendships and of toxic friendships. And I talked about my best friends first because I'm so lucky and so thankful to have them and have the people in my life that I do. But for a long time in my life, I would go out of my way to try to be friends with people who maybe didn't want to be friends with me or weren't putting in the kind of effort into friendships that I was. And it sucks. Like, it really sucks when you just want to be friends with somebody and you want to spend time with them and they're not reciprocating that. You have to have a good mindset about friendships. You can't put somebody else's happiness before yours, and you can't sacrifice your own happiness to try to be friends with somebody. And the 3 people in my life who I'm the closest with, I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Like, sure, I help them, and I try to help them as much as I can, and there have been situations in my life with them that are not always easy, but it's not a sacrifice to me because they do the same and more for me. So you have to find friendships with people that are your equals and who make you feel good. Like, whenever I talk to anybody who's having a hard time with another person, I say, think about your relationship. Do you spend more time being happy with them and about them, or sad? Because if you're spending all your time with and around somebody being upset, then that's no kind of friendship to have. You need to find people that are going to be fun and uplifting and make you a better version of yourself. And I have a lot of awesome friends, and I've been lucky to find 3 friends that just are amazing and are more than I could ever ask for in best friends. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say today. Bye, friends.